say that, um, particularly as we look at where we are in the world today, and I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. More and more, I think we're going to communicate this way, and we're going to try to do broader meetings where we can have these sorts of trainings, these sorts of conversations, these sorts of ideas. So this is a great test, so don't screw it up, Chris.
Yeah.
So, from standpoint of utilizing this sort of technology as we manage going forward, it'll afford us a lot of opportunities to quickly get together, to get a read on where we are and how we're doing, and communicate more as an organization, even though we might not be collectively in the same room. So we're going to give this a shot that we really think. We've been doing it, every Tuesday at some level, and I know that some of you guys are doing it amongst yourself, but hopefully more and more we'll be doing things with different regions together. So anyway, I'm looking forward to being able to get this technology down where it's not a big deal. I probably, since we have another one backed up here, we probably ought to start this thing,
All right, just so you know, Denise has no volume and Carmen has no video or volume, either one.
Well, Carmen doesn't have anything then if she has no video or.
She just has the Microsoft Teams screen that pulled up, and that's it.
Maybe she ought to close it and try it again.
I've already told her to do that.
Okay. Well, the good news is Doug is going to record it. So if they miss it, then they'll have an opportunity to see it.
Okay.
And with that, because my neighbor, I have a neighbor that I think mows his yard every day. I don't know why, but every day there's a guy over there with a lawnmower and a blower. So anyway, I'm going to go on mute and you guys have at it.
Okay, so this is Stephen McGowan, and I just wanted to thank everybody for showing up. I created these meetings after talking with Rick. We ran across a couple of opportunities that seems to keep paying off. So one of the things, if you pay attention to the news, the Texas and specifically McAllen is considered a hotspot in the nation for COVID-19, and our hospitals are in bad shape, and all this what happens, and the counties were really concerned because they needed to get the word out. They told us that they were having a problem with young people spreading COVID, and the biggest county in the area approached us, and Chris sat down with them, and he'll tell you what he did. But ultimately, these guys have CARE Act money, right? The same checks that we got, some people got for individuals. They also set aside money for states, and states gave the monies to, in some cases, counties, in some cases, cities. And it's a lot of money. I know in my county, Hidalgo County, they got $154 million. And the cities and the hospitals and everybody's fighting over that $150 million. But it can only be used for certain things, and one of the things that they say it can be used for is to educate the community, to try to educate their community to follow guidelines or to be safe. So we did that in one place. I think Chris, then his team decided, wow, that was pretty good. Maybe we should go come up with an education PSA campaign for another county, and they bought. And the original county sounds like they bought again yesterday. And so now we're tackling all kinds of counties. And when I was explaining that to Rick, he said, everybody should hear about this. Let's have a call. So I asked Chris if he could talk about it with you guys, because I assume the CARE credit money went to everybody, all cities, all counties. It wasn't just a Texas thing. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris.
Yeah, so on the call I have two of my teammates, Crystal Belmares and Victor Dominguez. And we're here, once we roll this out to you guys, we're here to offer support to help you in your markets if this is something that you want to pursue or I believe you're going to want to pursue. We do have a business to run, and this was a good way for us to bring in money during this terrible time. So I'm going to go through how this started and how it evolved. So again, like Stephen said, there's the CARE Act. All counties in the United States should have received some type of money for them to utilize through this time. To grab your attention, we're going to talk to you about the two counties that we're working with here. One is Hidalgo County. That was our original one. We ended up selling them $37,275 for a month of advertising. And we're pending month 2. We talked to them last night because we're starting to have problems with another age group. First, when they approached us, they were having a problem with just 20-year-olds staying home. So we designed a whole campaign around 20-year-olds, and now they're having issues with 30 and 40-year-olds. So that's what they're looking to do with month 2. Victor Dominguez is very aggressive DMM on our agency staff. He took once we sold Hidalgo County, he said, well, I'm going to go sell Cameron County. And he took the initiative, took the information, and went down and sold Cameron County $49,400 over 2 months. So with that, Victor is going to now start targeting Starr County, Willacy County, Nueces County, Harris County, and Dallas County here in Texas, because those are our hot spots. And he's going to go in, and I think he's reached out to a couple of them already, and I think he's going to be talking to 1 or 2 of them today. So that's the attention grabber. We just wanted you to see what kind of money is out there that these counties or cities have. The counties were supposed to distribute the money to the cities, but we'll get into that here in a minute. So the concept was the county approached us. They recognized they were having issues heading into the 4th of July weekend with 18 to 34-year-olds not following instructions, not wearing masks, not staying home, just going out and living their normal life during this pandemic. They were looking for ideas to effectively reach that audience, and use some of their allotted CARES Act grant money to plead with that age group to wear masks and stay home. We had an initial meeting where we discussed their plan, and we reviewed with them all of the digital products that would help them reach their target audience. So the necessary steps were, the first thing we did when we met with them was conduct a needs analysis. So it's no different than any other sale, right? Because we wanted to sell them what they were looking for. So we did it. We met with them, did a full needs analysis to uncover their goals and their targets. Now, just so you guys are aware, both of these buys were conducted through an ad agency, because both counties worked with an ad agency. So we had to build in some third-party profit for the agencies. But we'll get into more of that later. And then they both needed city breakdowns so they could pull money from those cities, because again, like I mentioned earlier, the counties received the money, but they were to disperse them to the cities. So the county needed a breakdown by city so that everyone could pitch in based on population to pitch into the ad campaign. Okay. So we started with targeted display, obviously, because we can target that by age group. Targeted display, for those of you that aren't aware, are ads throughout the internet, different sizes. You can reach different target audiences. So that was one of the big elements, probably the largest element of the buy, because we could reach a lot of people for a smaller amount of money. So when we pulled forecasts, Crystal and Victor pulled forecasts for the county for 18-year-olds, there was 61 million available impressions, and it would cost them about $8,000, and that would give them 3 million to 8 million impressions. And we can pull forecasting for your counties as well to help you guys out, so you're armed with that information when you go to these meetings. Okay. The second big part, because they wanted to reach 18 to 34-year-olds, was Facebook and Instagram targeted campaign. So through our forecasts, we were able to, we were only able to target 18 to 30-year-olds. It didn't go to, it went up to 40 instead of 34. but the potential reach was 280,000 people, and we could reach that audience with $2,750 buy, which equates to about 32,000 to 92,000 daily reach on the ad campaign for Facebook and Instagram. Okay. Audience, Snapchat was a component of this buy, but it's not very expensive to advertise on Snapchat. So in Hidalgo County, 18 to 30-year-olds, they have there's a target audience of 217,000 to 225,000 people, and we were able to reach that audience with $1,750 for a 30-day campaign. We also recommended video because on several of the platforms we could target video on Facebook, we could target video on Snapchat, we could target video on YouTube, which we'll get to in a minute. So we did put some video production. We built them a video. We put that into the campaign. I'm going to share that video real quick so you guys can see it. It's not the greatest video, but it does its job. Sorry, I can't see the play button down here. There we go. So I know that the music's not very exciting. I got made fun of by Rick and Steven about that yesterday, so we're probably going to change that out. But we were able to take their artwork, their creative, and just create a short 15-second video for them. So with YouTube, 18 to 34-year-olds, we were able to produce 590,000 to 1.7 million impressions over the 30-day period. To reach 18 to 34-year-olds, and we were able to do that for around $5,500. Okay. We did put, even though they were going after a lower target market or audience, age-wise, we did put newspaper.com in, and the reason we did that is because they wanted the community to know that they were utilizing the money to try and stop the spread of COVID-19, right? And the best way to reach in our market a mass audience was to put our newspaper website in there, because when COVID started, our website traffic, we went up to about 12 million page views a month. So it was a great mass reach tool to let the community know what they were trying to accomplish. Okay. So this is just a slide that shows you the artwork that they utilized, and this is what their campaigns. They had to build several different ad sizes. We helped them with that, and this was the creative they came up with to get the message out to help save lives in the community. So this is probably the most exciting slide in there. This shows the total buy and the breakdown, and this is where it became real important to break it down by city. They needed a spend per city because each city was going to throw in a certain amount of money from the county, and these are the cities in the county. And then the allocated spends per product that we had. They needed it broken down by product for their books and by city, right? So they know what to bill each city or what portion they need to recollect from the city. You can see at the bottom, the yellow highlighted area, the total buy was $37,275. I can't see so the media spend is off there to the right, which is $25,000. We're actually going to spend $25,000. So we're going to be making profit-wise a little over $12,000 with the buy for the month. And we had to put in some extra money, like I said, for the agencies, because the agencies weren't going to work with us if there was no money involved for them. But we were able to negotiate a small rate, and what we did was we just added that on top of our rate. So we're not paying them out of our rate. We added the money in there so that they're paid from us after the campaign is complete.
So Chris, just for simplicity, and the people on the call will understand this, the $37,000 is your net rate after commissions, right? That's what you're getting. That's what you're getting after you pay your commissions.
Yeah.
No, they're taking 5% is coming out of that 37,275. So I think it's
Okay. Well, then, but they're getting more than 5, right?
no. Well, okay, so it's different by city, but in Hidalgo County, they're getting 5%. So they're going to make about $1,800 out of that 37,000. They'll make $1,800 in. Now the Cameron County buy was done different. So what Victor did with that was that he he added the money on top, but he's billing the amount where they don't get, because their percentage was a lot higher. Their percentage was 15% that they wanted. So that was built on top and not being billed at the newspaper. So what we're doing is billing him the net amount, and he's adding his percentage on top. Make sense? So it just depends on the agency on how they want to do it. So we accommodated them both ways. We had to do it a little different in each county. So that is the presentation that we wanted to share. We wanted to show you how it could be done. We are targeting other counties. So what we wanted to do now is open it up for a question and answer. And I've got Crystal and Victor on the call so that we can help answer any questions you guys might have or anything that wasn't fully covered here in the presentation.
Hey, Chris, one of the things that I think is important, and we talked about it yesterday, is sort of the real steps, particularly because a lot of counties have agencies that they work with. This is not a picking up the phone and calling someone at the county. It's really doing a little homework before anything is initiated, and Digital Lane can help through that process. But understanding the steps and understanding, do they have an agency? How do we find that part of it? If they don't, then who are the players that control these kind of monies? So it's a little bit of finesse in the front side to then get the conversation on the going in the proper manner.
Right. So there's no written script for that. What you want to do first is find out if they do work with an agency, because that's the easiest way, is to convince the agency and they'll convince the county. If you have to go, I assume every county across the country is different. Some work with agencies, some don't. Some may do their own. So that's one of the first things you're going to have to find out, is how your county does their advertising. Is it through an agency? Do they do it in-house? Or do you call them direct and they buy through you? So I'm trying to go back to the first page, but I can't get the PowerPoint to go back. Hold on 1 second. It's like stuck. 1 second. Because we can go back over that on the first page.
And so when you look at whether it's, Miami County or once again, the opportunity may not be our home county all the time either. That
Correct.
The same as we're going after Harris County and Dallas County because they have similar needs and they have similar monies. That looking at hometown is the seem to be the most practical, but the adjoining counties also are in the same boat, and this is print like part of this, but it's not the lead part of this because of saturation in the county and reaching us very targeted group. So looking at Allen County or Miami County or Champaign County, whatever we have, it's really getting focused on that county and that adjoining county, but they're separate buys each one, and they're geographically controlled by a agency or by someone in the county.
Right. And so Star, Willacy, Cameron, and Hidalgo are our local counties that we serve. Nueces is about 200 miles away. Harris County, 300-400 miles away, and Dallas County is on the north end of the state. The reason we decided we're going after those is because we know they are having issues with the virus, and we figured they need help, and those are the ones we're going to go after. This is just the beginning part of the list. we're going to go through Texas counties and see where else we can target this as well. But again, like Rick was saying, the important part is to find out about the agency. That's how we had success here, is we went through the advertising agency. But again, it's going to come down to you talking to the county to see what their needs are. So I'm assuming every county's needs are different, right? Ours, the first one we dealt with, wanted to go after 18 to 30-year-olds. So we customized the campaign around that. Some people might want to reach the entire market, and in that case, we pull projections for the entire market. So, and we can help you with all that, and it's going to come down to I've always worked with needs analysis because I think that's the most effective way to sell, because I'm selling somebody something that they want, right? They're telling me their problem, I'm giving them a solution to fix it. And I think without that step, I don't think any sale is easy. That's always been my approach, is I'm not going to make my job more difficult by trying to force something on them. I'm going to sell them what they need and what they want. And I think that's why we've had success with this, because we've sold them what they need and what they want. And like Rick said, so the print rep, after seeing what the county did online, went and sold them, Stephen, what was it, $9,000 in print? Stephen?
You're muted, Stephen.
You're on mute, Steve.
I think it was.
I'm sorry. It was between $8,000 and $9,000. They want to run a week. They want to run an ad every day for a week.
Okay.
Right. So the print opportunity is not. It's not just a digital opportunity. There is the print opportunity as well. Now, when they came to us,
I think another takeaway is this is not money that they normally have. This is money that they received, and now they're going to use it. So it's not going after money that you normally have gone after. It's monies that exist there for a very big pop. If you look at Bowling Green, Wood County, I think, they've had a big flare-up, or had a big flare-up. I don't know if they still do. But that target...
They're actually still in the middle of it. They're at level 3 right now, so they're the next level from being locked down again.
Yeah, and so my guess, because of the university that's there and the profile, it's going to mirror a lot of the same age demographics. So that could be a very strong one to entertain right off the bat. All of them are, because every county, unless you get into some of the southeastern, so when we get Lane's group, it'll be less of a opportunity. Because there's probably less money because of the pieces and the parts that exist. The closer you get to a Cincinnati or a Dayton or a Columbus or a Toledo, the larger markets, which is the Harris County and the Dallas County, they're going to have those needs. And then it becomes a question of, can we talk with the agencies and provide that? Because agencies do like to look like heroes without doing a lot of work. So
they also get money, right? I mean, they're needing money too, and
right.
So they're all for this because they get a piece of the pie, right? And the money's been allocated by population, right? So if you've got I know Franklin County is where the biggest. I just looked at something on Ohio, and Franklin County looks like your real hot spot. But
the thing to be careful with here too is some agencies do their own digital advertising in-house. So you got to be real careful and find that out first, because you don't want to take this to them and then they go ahead and run it themselves with the county and we get nothing out of it.
Yeah.
So if they're fulfilling as well, because we have several agencies that fulfill through us, and that's how we were able to pull this off. But if they do it on their own and you put this in front of them, they're likely to just go to the county and do it themselves.
I think part of your homework, though, is also to figure out where the money's at, right? So the money was distributed from the federal government based on population, right? So I'm making this up because I don't know the exact number, but like $125 per person. So in our county, we have 1 million people in our county. So however that worked out, they got $154 million. Well, then the county is trying to figure out a way to distribute that to the cities. So they haven't given it to the cities yet, but ultimately the money's going to end up in the cities' coffers. In your place, maybe they've already given it to the cities, right? Maybe the county's already dispersed it. So a little bit of research, you may end up, we say counties because they haven't given the money away yet. And in fact, they're trying to figure out how to spend it on behalf of the cities. And the cities are darn mad about it, by the way. But ultimately, in your place, maybe the county passed it through quicker. And maybe the money's actually sitting in the city's bank account, right?
Yeah.
That's you got to know.
We'd have to approach the cities. Right.
So how did you handle your rural areas, Chris? Because, a lot of places here in Ohio where we have newspapers, we have cities, like even Allen County is just a small portion. It's only about 40% of the population in the county. So how did you handle them? Did the county commissioners just take care of it?
We got lucky enough to where we didn't have to worry about that because we were getting the money straight from the county. We didn't have to worry about collecting from different cities, so we didn't have to worry about that. What we had to worry about was just make sure that the campaign served ads into those areas, right?
Okay.
Well, then that's the reason for that accounting, because that really provides to the county what they have to turn around and give to the federal government in terms of what they did with the money that they were given. And that provides them with that, which once again is a real benefit to them, that they can say, we did this with the money that you gave us, and here's where we spent it.
Now, the county's got to report back up to the state. The cities have to report to the county, right? So
Get closer, Steve.
the city has to report what it did with the money to the county. The county has to report what it did with the money to the state. So the county's kind of that middleman, the closest thing to the state. The state, of course, has to tell the federal government what they do. But to answer your question, Kirk, in our situation, the county has a bunch of money out of that $154 million that they set aside for rural, right? These are places that aren't in the city proper. I don't know. When you say rural, I think it's outside of the city proper. And that is 100% county-run trash and things like that. So the way they see it, that's their city, right? The county city is the rural markets.
Okay, and that was my question. I just wanted to make sure that you were still dealing directly with the county for those rural areas. So, yeah. Okay.
Well, I think that depends on how the state's set up, right?
Or how the county's set up.
Yeah.
So that's part of the taking foot off the gas and understanding, so that when we go in, we're knowledgeable with the understanding of how it actually works within the county and the city relationship and where the money is, because the money's there. There's not a county around that didn't put their hand out and say, I need something.
Yeah.
And if there is, I'd be really surprised.
Crystal and Victor are on the call. Do you guys have any interjection you'd like to add? Victor, because your experience was a little different than mine. Do you want to add anything?
It was just basically the same approach, a little bit different, other than I had to go and kind of seek it. I did try to get into the county directly, send a couple emails, was not able to get through. I talked to the print rep, see if they had anybody, waited a little bit, got tired of waiting and just went out for it, and talked to the agency myself. And the agency was real excited, right? Right now, I know Crystal and we reached out to Harris County. We already got a response back. They're trying to get the email to the appropriate
appropriate person.
Yeah. So we're a step further there.
The same thing with San Antonio. We have an agency that we work with in San Antonio, so we reached out to them to see if maybe they have the in with the county or maybe just the city itself.
But I think the main thing is to just go out there and try to get it, like any cell.
Well, but you have to figure out where you're trying to get it from.
Yeah. And it's going to be different for every single county, I assume. Right. So that's where the research part is important.
That's important. You're right. I mean, with both of these counties, or with all three of these counties, we kind of went in there. We're doing some research to see, is it the county that's really doing all the pushing and putting the resources out there, or is it the city itself? And for Harris and Nueces, it's mainly the county. With Nueces, it's a lot of Corpus pushing, the resources out there. San Antonio, that's one that, we're waiting a response back on. That one looks more of a city one, but I mean, we'll find out.
Yeah, because the approach might be for some of these might be the cities, right? So what she was talking about with Nueces and Corpus is a big city, but Nueces County, besides Corpus, is all rural, right? Or do I have that right? That's out in the country, right?
Yeah, Nueces Corpus Christi is a big area, and then you've got the smaller stuff around it.
Right. So that might be like the areas you have up there, Kurt, like Dayton, where it's maybe there's the big city, but then there's a lot of rural area around it, right?
You should be able to. I know. We heard about all this through our newsroom, right? In other words, the newsroom was reporting on the going back and forth with the money, and I remember reading that in some cases in Texas they just gave the money directly to the large city. So Houston probably wasn't getting a pass through from the county. They probably just got their money directly, because the city is the major part of the county.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why the needs analysis and the investigation part is so important with this, so that you don't waste a lot of time going after the wrong thing, right?
My takeaway for this group is look at your counties and really put your plan together that says, okay, I'm gonna try to go here. But if you've got any question, I really encourage you to reach back out for the consultation with either Chris or Victor or Chris, whoever who are playing with that as somebody to really have a correspondence with back and forth, because this is not reinventing the wheel. This is taking the wheel and seeing if we can't repeat the wheel. And then there may be a twist that happens in the process that we say, hey, that's even got a better twist. Now we can go do this. But it's not go and reinvent it. It's take and follow the pieces and the parts, because the money's there, and we don't know how long the money will be there before somebody else comes in with a different plan and sucks the money away. Doing it in a very proactive manner now helps the county and helps the company.
I'd also like to say that consulting with the Digital AIM Group to really dig into whatever it is they're trying to do, that's where all the money's going to come from. So if you're, if we had sent a regular sales rep out, they may have come back with $9,000 for print and some stuff on our website. But that wasn't going to, overall, the real money came when we said, what's your problem? It's young people. And then we went through all kinds of methods. Snapchat is great for young people. So when we went and looked at all this stuff and we threw it back at them, they didn't even balk, because if you think about it, $154 million, and we asked them for $37,000. And now we're asking them for more. I guess you're getting close to closing them on the second month with the other age group, right, Chris?
Yeah.
So
TikTok was something we also wanted to do. The problem we're having with TikTok is since COVID has started, they're impossible to get a hold of. So we haven't been able to get a setup account with them as of yet. We are working on it, just so you guys know. So it could happen any day, right? They might send us an email and say, here's what you do to set up the account. And then we're ready to go. But we've just had trouble with it because of the COVID. They're not staffed well right now.
Any of you guys got questions?
So Victor will be your guys' lead on this, and he can, depending on what you want to utilize him for, he can pull forecasts. I think what you should do is probably utilize him on the sales calls, right? If you can. Because he's got experience with this. He's got experience with large sales. He's not afraid to ask for the money. He did a great job with the Cameron County buy. He takes the initiative. He said, after the Hidalgo County, I didn't even think about going to Cameron County. And Victor was like, give me what you have. And he just went and did it. And that was great on his part, because I didn't even think about it. And he just took the ball and ran with it.
And the resources and the expertise are here, and the win is to whoever, the market that gets it. So the money and the win is yours, but the resources are here to help drive that and move that along. So then you can look at another county, and then you can look at another county. So don't waste time trying to reinvent it and do it. Just take what we have, ask the questions that you have, and use them as a resource to help you score this stuff. Because there's a lot more, and this may be one of those things where Ernie takes on with this, and then we talk with what's Dayton in? What county's Dayton in? Montgomery.
Yeah.
That says, you know what? Because it really has nothing to do with our distribution in print. It has everything to do with our ability to capture the market that they are looking for in a digital format.
Yeah.
Good. As I told you, Chris, I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, and so Victor just pointed out to me too that not to wait on this. Don't overanalyze it. Don't try to come up with a different plan. The key is just get somebody on the phone now and start the conversation.
Hey, Chris, were your initial contacts, would you say, driven via phone or email back and forth? Which is, I mean, we'll probably attack it every way, but how did yours happen to pan out? Did you finally make a verbal contact with somebody there to talk to?
Yeah, so the original one was actually set up by our circulation director.
Okay.
He was out somewhere. He has a buddy who has this agency. The buddy approached him and said he needed to do something with this county, and Robert told him, why don't you come meet with Chris at the office?
Okay.
And it happened that quickly and
Okay.
that simply. And then with Victor's, his was totally different because his wasn't brought to us. He said, give me that, and he went out and kind of what we're asking you guys to do. He took it and said, I'm going to go talk to these guys and see if they want to do it.
Okay.
So there were two totally different ways that it was done.
Fine.
Okay.
I think critical to this, Chris, and to all is really how, because it is like, okay, well, how do I even start finding the right group or finding the right person or do they have finding that first piece of this is where you've got to move from here. That says, who do I call?
Yeah, and the first piece is probably the county, because they'll tell you, well, I work with this agency, or no, we do that in-house. That's what you got to find out. So that's the first thing you got to uncover, is how do they get their advertising accomplished.
So like with me, what I did is I first tried to approach the county, right? I couldn't get through. I emailed, I went through the rep, I couldn't get through, and I just started thinking, so I look at the county judge and I started thinking, who handled the county judge's campaign? So I was like, okay, it was Breeden McCumber. Let me reach out to Don and see what he thinks, right? And then that was my end.
Okay.
So you just got to look at it in different, like if you get a no, what's the next step? You're not going to stop with just a no, right? You're going to be like, what other way can I get in front of them? You just got to continue trying and figuring it out until we get it.
Right. And a big advantage we have down here is most of our advertising agencies don't do digital in-house. And like Victor already had a relationship with Don because he's done other digital stuff for him. So it really worked out well. Same with the company in Hidalgo County. We already do their digital. So it happened to work out for us. But we won't know until we get people on the phone and find out how they accomplish their advertising, right?
And don't hesitate to say, hey, Victor, I'm going to get on this call, you jump on it with me, type of thing, because that's going to give somebody more confidence, and it also then has the ability to do the dance wherever the dance leads you. And because they've done this before. They've done this not just in this particular, but with other products and services that we do. So don't hesitate to use the resources that we have available to use.
Right. And don't get frustrated because it might take 10 phone calls before you find out to get to the right person or get on the right path even. And that's what it's going to take. It's just jumping on the phone and getting the contact. Once you guys get that done, we can help you. We can walk you through the rest of it. Victor's there to support you guys. He can go on the call We could use this Microsoft. What is this? Microsoft Teams. And we can set up a conference call. He can walk you guys through it, and we can get you the projections. So and that's the important thing too, is they're going to want to know how many people they can reach, right? And we can pull those projections for you.
And we can do it quickly.
I was just say, what's our turnaround on the projections?
So probably 24 hours, but I do want to point out to remind you guys that we have a budget and stuff down here. So we also have our own calls that we do in market. So if we don't call you back immediately, we will get back to you because we are on calls, right? We are on calls locally. We have clients and calls locally. So I would say 24 hours, we could get that to you. The projections. But that, as far as the call goes, we need to have the call first before we can even get into the projections, right? So.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
If you picture that you're able to potentially pick up, $20, $30, $40,000 out of a county, or maybe if depending upon what kind of shape they're in, and the larger ones, if we get into that, that's a big deal across the Midwest for sure. Okay, and not all will be, as I say. I know that there are some counties that this day either don't know that COVID is around or doesn't seem to have much of anything going on, which is good, but they're also really rural, and they're also, not big players one way or the other. So we won't spend a lot of time, but the markets that we're on this call today have a lot of business going on and have a lot of it's an opportunity for us. Great.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Chris.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Victor and Crystal. Yeah. Stephen.
All right, guys, have a good day. Go get it.
Thank you.
you.